Every woman should spend a year on her own. I truly believe this. Whether you're watching this video and single, you're in a relationship, you're married, you're widowed, I think it is so important for women to experience spending a whole year by themselves. It is so important for women, no matter what your situation, to feel confident and comfortable being alone and being able to do things on your own. And you know what? A few years ago, I would never have said this. I was the girl who didn't like spending time on my own. I always used to have plans. I always had to be with somebody. I couldn't just be in the house by myself. So the fact I'm now sat here doing this video, saying this confidently and believing it actually blows my mind. I have gone full circle. And you can too after watching this video. So I've got my little notebook with me because I've lived this. I've been through this. So I wanted to make lots of notes for this video because I wanted to go through absolutely everything and not forget any of the points I wanted to make. So if you've never seen me before, my name is Becky. I am 42 and I'm the founder of a brand called Solo Girling, which happened to come about when I was doing my solo year. And at the time, I had no idea that would lead to me doing videos on social media about it. No idea. So I started doing solo girling when I was single. I am now in a relationship, so I can come at this from both angles. I am not here to diss relationships or say that you shouldn't be in a relationship or that relationships aren't important, because I think they're really important. They have been a huge part of my life. But I am talking about the skills we need to have as women and what is good for women, what is good for our soul. And these are all things that I have learned along the way in my journey. So a little bit of background on me. So I was married for nearly 16 years. And then in my early 30s, when we were going through a separation, I found myself alone for the first time in my adult life. I'd never lived by myself. I'd never not been in a relationship. I was alone and I was really nervous about this. I wasn't somebody, as I mentioned earlier, that was comfortable being on my own and doing things on my own. I'd always have my husband there to do the things that I wasn't sure about, sorting out the Wi-Fi or sorting out car finance, that kind of thing. Any bills that I wasn't sure about, he would be the one that would sort those out. So for me, this was an anxious time, I would say. I was also a mum as well. So our little girl was, I think she's about 4 or 5 at the time when we separated. So for the first time, I'm single. I'm about to live by myself, but I've also got a daughter with me, a child with me as well, which obviously is a huge responsibility. And at the time as well, I had this overwhelming feeling of this isn't where I'm meant to be in life. I'm not in a relationship or a marriage anymore, and I failed at life. And I'm now a single parent or co-parenting with her dad, and we're living in separate houses, and she's going between the 2 houses. And I really had this feeling of failure, and that after that, I almost had to get into a relationship to prove to myself that I was okay, I was worthy, and everything was good in my life. To me, everything that looked good in life was when you were in a relationship. So I actually had a lot going on in this period in my life. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, so we had that going on as a family. I was living by myself for the first time with my daughter, and actually I loved where I'd moved into an apartment and I was really happy there. We'd made it into a really lovely home. But actually I had quite a bit of stress going on with that apartment as well. Someone who was in charge of the apartment then decided they wanted to try and evict me illegally and with no real cause. But that was really stressful at the time. And actually, because this was my first time being on my own, I'd never really had to deal with things. I didn't know the rules around eviction and that people couldn't just evict you. So I thought me and my daughter were going to be out on the street pretty quickly. I didn't realize that there were certain rules and laws and things. And luckily I had someone who could help me. But that was a really steep learning curve for me. And I think looking back, probably one of the most stressful times of my life. Sadly, we then lost my dad during this period as well, which was horrific. My relationship then abruptly ended, that I was in my new relationship. And I just found that everything was crumbling around me and spiraling. And it was just a really difficult period for me. I also lost my granddad, who I was close to very soon after all of this as well. So there was a lot going on. So I actually decided to do therapy at this point in my life. I just thought it would be what I needed. And I was recommended a therapist. She was absolutely brilliant, actually, but she was quite scary. She wasn't one of these therapists that kind of sat back and just listened to you and and ahed. She gave her 2 pence worth, which actually I think I really needed at this point. And she really made me see things in a different way. But I remember her saying to me that the next weekend that my daughter was at her dad's, I should spend the weekend completely by myself. And this was something I hadn't done before. Even though I was living by myself, I always made plans at the weekends. I'd make plans to go and see friends, go for a walk with them, or go around to theirs for dinner, or go for drinks. Or I always had to have things going on, basically. I couldn't just be by myself because I'd get really bad FOMO and start to feel a bit lonely. So my therapist said, you need to spend the whole weekend by yourself. Now, when she told me this, I actually thought to myself, there is no way on God's earth I can do that. And because she scared me quite a bit, I thought, what I'm going to do is tell my therapist that I spent the weekend alone, but really, I'll spend some of it alone, but I'll book in the odd little thing with my friend here and there, and I'll just lie to her and tell her that I spent the whole weekend by myself. So that was my plan. However, I then went away after thinking about it and thought, what's the point in paying your therapist and having these sessions with her if you're not going to take her advice and put yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit? So after thinking about it, I did decide to spend the weekend by myself. And my goodness, I was absolutely terrified. I cannot even tell you. So I remember on the Friday night, I think I just stayed in at home, watched something on TV, and that kind of went by pretty quickly. On Saturday, I went to the supermarket and I'd seen a deli sandwich that I really liked the look of. And I'd seen it on social media. So I went and got the ingredients for that. And I actually went and bought myself a pack of beer, which I never drink beer ever, but for some reason I thought I'm going to go and get some beers. Went home to my apartment, tidied up the apartment a bit, made myself this really nice deli sandwich, put something on Netflix that I really wanted to watch, drank a beer, then I felt really sleepy, had a lovely afternoon nap and woke up and then had the evening in. And you know, I actually had such a nice weekend and it really got me over my fear of being on my own and feeling like I had to do something or be with somebody all the time. I'm just going to move that here because I'm a little bit uncomfortable. So honestly, it was the best thing that I could have ever done. I thank my therapist so much because at the time it was so uncomfortable for me and I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but actually it was the best thing that I could have ever done. And I had no idea at the time that this would be the start of me talking about this sort of thing on social media as well. So thank you to my therapist. And you know what? After that weekend, I then continued to spend time on my own. Not all the time, obviously. I'm still a very social person. I love seeing my friends and spending time with good people, but I also prioritized time by myself and doing things alone. So a little staple after that was Friday nights. I would always keep Friday nights to myself. So after a week of work and doing things, Friday nights would always be mine and they would be steak and red wine night. I love steak. I love red wine. And this would be a staple. I'd always go to the supermarket on a Friday, pick up the ingredients, choose a different red wine, a new one that I hadn't had before. I'd go home, I'd put on a really nice playlist in my apartment. I would open the bottle of red wine, have a little glass while I was cooking my steak and my chips or whatever I was having with it. And it would just be the nicest evening. It became like a little tradition for me. And it was just for me. There was no one else there. I wasn't cooking for anybody else. It was purely for my enjoyment. And I think through the years, certainly in years gone by, it has been seen that it's quite a negative thing to be a woman on your own. I do think that's changing a little bit now, actually. But certainly before, the goal was to be in a relationship. If you were in a relationship, you were better than the single girls or the ones who were on their own because you'd nailed it. You'd been chosen. You were on the right path. But I really don't think that is the case, and especially these days. First off, so many people I know are in unhappy relationships because they've settled. They don't know how to leave. Financially, they're not in a position to leave. They're too scared to leave, or they have children or assets combined. So just keep that in mind as well. Not everybody in a relationship is in a happy one. Again, not that I'm trying to say that being single or being on your own is better than being in a relationship. I'm not saying that, and I don't believe that at all. But I don't like this assumption that if you're on your own, you must be unhappy or there must be something wrong with you, because that is so not the case. And in actual fact, neither one is better or worse. Being in a relationship or being single neither one has the upper hand. I think in life, you get hardships with whatever path you choose. So whether you're single, it's going to be hard at points. Whether you're in a relationship, it's going to be hard at points. So you just need to choose the path that's right for you at the time. And you know what? We are in a new era as women. We don't need to be with someone and rely on someone in the sense of a relationship. We are the most financially independent we have ever been. My God, we have come on since years gone by. It was only probably 30, 40 years ago that the generations before us couldn't even have their own bank account. So the fact now that we can do all of these things on our own, we are allowed to live on our own, have houses by ourselves, financially support ourselves, get our own car, travel alone. We should be really grateful for that opportunity rather than seeing it as a negative. Now, when I have done my years on my own, and I've done a few years, but at different times, so when I've been single, these are the things that I really noticed and the benefits that I noticed from being on my own and doing things by myself. So first off, your confidence grows to a level that I just don't think it would if you were constantly in a relationship. And it grows because you have to do all of these things that test your confidence and put you outside of your comfort zone. So you have to make decisions, you have to solve problems, you get this sense of satisfaction from getting things done. You get to travel on your own. You have to sort out your own finances. You do stuff by yourself and you have to just figure stuff out. That builds such confidence. And secondly, you discover what you like. So not your friend, not your family, not your partner, you. What do you like when it's just you with no one else around you? Do you like to go to yoga? Do you like to meditate? Do you like to hike? Do you like to go for walks? What music do you like? What food do you want to eat? What restaurants do you love? What do you love to do on a random Sunday morning? What is your perfect morning routine? What do you like to do in the evenings? What do you like to do on a Friday night? What are your hobbies? What hotels do you like going to? Where do you like to travel to? You don't really find this stuff out until you are with yourself. And I also think you stop settling. We have all been there where we have settled for things previously. And really, I think this comes from a fear of being alone. But you know what? When you spend a year by yourself, you no longer have that fear and anxiety of being alone. So it means that you settle less. And you know what? When you can give yourself a lovely life that is full, that you love, that makes you feel happy, you're not then going to let somebody into your life who doesn't give you that and more, because you can give that to yourself. That is such a big one. And number 4, your life stops being on hold. So many people, when they're on their own or they're not in a relationship, they stop doing things, or they wait and they hold those things off until somebody comes along and they're in a relationship with somebody. That is not the way to do it. Your life is here to be lived, and you can have an incredible time when you're on your own. You don't have to wait for somebody. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to compromise. You are the one making the plans, and make sure you have a hell of a good time whilst you're doing it. So if you are watching this and you're thinking, yes, this sounds good, this sounds like just what I need to have a solo year, but you're thinking, how do I go about it? I'm going to tell you. First of all, you need to decide when you're going to start this solo year. So it might be that you don't want to wait anymore. You don't want to mess around. You want to start it tomorrow. Great. Start it tomorrow. Or if you maybe want to start it at the start of a new season. So September might be a good time to start it. Or January, the start of maybe it's just you want to go January to January. But have a think about when you want to start your solo. Okay, now here is how you're going to plan your solo year, because I think this is so important. You need to have things to look forward to. You need to have a bit of a schedule, know what you're doing so you don't waste any of this year. And also you want to get really excited about it. So here's how we're going to plan it. First of all, you need a notebook and pen, and you are going to make something of this planning session. So go along to your favorite coffee shop or your favorite cocktail bar, or even if you want to do it at home, just make yourself a nice drink, set the mood, put a nice playlist on, light some candles, and you are going to have a solo year planning session. We are going to write all of this down. Whenever I am planning things to do solo, I always like to romanticize the actual planning. So rather than thinking, oh God, got to plan this, make it a really nice thing, an event that you do. So first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to break our year up into 4 parts. So winter, spring, summer, autumn. So section those off. And then we are going to do the months. So obviously, if you're doing winter, you would have October, November, January, February. If you were doing summer, you would have June, July, August. And then, and this is the really fun bit, you are going to write a list of things that you really want to do and experience. Maybe it's things that you just never got round to doing. Maybe it's things you've been too scared to do. Maybe it's things that if you were in a relationship, your partner never wanted to do with you. Write them all down. So is it that you want to do a weekend on your own in Seville? Jot that one down. Is it that you want to go to a really nice spa hotel in this country and just spend the night there and completely relax? Is it that you just want a night at home reading a really good book with no interruptions? Is it that you want to do cold water swimming? Is it that you want to get up really early and go and see a beautiful sunrise? Is it that you want to try paddle? Is it that you want to try Pilates or yoga? Is it that you want to go and get a really nice takeaway pizza and go and see a sunset somewhere? Do you want to see the Northern Lights? Has that always been your dream? Maybe you want to do some DIY on your house or upgrade your kitchen or a piece of furniture. Maybe you have friends that you just haven't been giving enough attention to and you want to spend more time with them. Maybe it's that you want to do your garden. Whatever it is, write these down and you can have as many as you want on that. Then what you're going to do is slot these things, these experiences into your year. So now you're going to really start to see your year coming together and becoming full of adventures and experiences. So see, this is not going to be a lonely solo year. This is going to be jam-packed. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an adventure. You're going to love it. And then what I want you to do as well is I want you to have one really big goal that you want to achieve in this year. So maybe it's that you want to start a business. Maybe it's that you want to get a promotion at work. Maybe you want to leave your job. Maybe it's that you want to move house. Maybe you want to get a dog. Maybe you want to look into adoption. Maybe you want to learn to cook, lose some weight, get fit. Maybe you want to save £1,000. What is your one goal that you really want to put your focus in? What is your one goal that you really want to put all of your focus onto for this year? And honestly, imagine how far you would get if for just this one you focused on you. Nothing else, no distractions, not giving your energy to anybody else. You just focus on you. You are going to go places. You will be in a completely different place to this time next year. No, where focus goes, energy flows. That's it. And it is so true. Honestly, imagine what you could achieve. Imagine how you would feel in a year from now and how thankful you would be that you took that year just to focus on you. And you know what I want you to do as well? I want you to call this year something. I want you to give it a name, brand it if you like. I love branding things. So you could maybe call it, if it was obviously me doing it, I would call it maybe my Becky era or my me era. Or what's something else I could call it? My solo year era. I always just think if it's got a name, it just makes it into more of a thing. Oh, sorry, I'm just spying on some people outside the window there, what they're up to. And I just want to say this as well. The goal with this is not to be on your own forever, unless, of course, you want to be, and that is totally fine. But it's not to shun relationships or make relationships or another person into something negative. It's really not. Those things are incredible. But the goal for this is to become your happiest, most confident, independent, fulfilled self, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship. These are life skills. And we want to have a hell of a lot of fun and adventures along the way, because why not? And what's a year? What is a year in the grand scheme of things? So if you are watching this and you're thinking, this is just what I need to do a solo year, and take this as your sign. A year of getting to know yourself is never a wasted year. It will be the best thing you ever do. And if you want more inspo like this and talking about this subject, you can follow me over on Instagram. I give daily tips and hints on there. And I literally post on there every single day with little hints and tips to help you. I also have a course as well, which has helped so many people. In this course, I have taken everything that I've learned from my time from being single and a little bit from being in relationships as well. It's called the Solo Girl 72-Hour Reset. So if you feel like you need a little bit of a reset or a little bit of a kickstart, this is going to help you, and it helps you in just 3 days. It's a real sort of quick file. So it's in PDF version, and you literally just download it, and it guides you through 3 days, and it works from the foundation, and then we work up. It is so good. It's literally the steps that I took when I was single and I wasn't feeling too confident, but I wanted to get myself to a good place and feel independent and do things on my own. So it's literally all the steps that I went through combined into a little 3-day course. I will pop the link for that below. You can see all of the reviews and all of the information there. But yeah, if you do want a bit of a kickstart, just click on that below. And also as well, if you are going to be doing a solo year, maybe you're in a solo year already. Maybe you're like 7 years into solo. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know your experiences of this. And I'd also love to know how you're feeling if you are about to start this. So pop it in the comments. Bye.